Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. David B. Rich. I, Today is a historic day for me. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk to my. He has so many roles and titles in my life. Pops is the main one. Mentor, friend, best friend, actually. Um, Spiritual guidance that I've received from this man over the years has really um, created the man that you see today. I met Pops at a rough time in my life. I met Pops maybe 30 to 40 days before I had to turn myself in into prison to do a 4-year sentence. And from there, we've been connected through all of my trials and through all of my ups and downs and peaks and valleys. Pops has always been a constant. The Rich family has always been a constant in my life. And today is a very special episode. I don't know what episode number this is going to be, but this is always going to be episode one for me because not only do we get the opportunity to talk to you today, Pops, and really share you with our audience and with the world, but I also want to make sure like this episode is me giving you your flowers. You know what I'm saying? Really, just my appreciation for you is undescribable. You know what I mean? Becoming a man and what a man looks like is an example that you showed me since day one, and I'm just proud to call you my pops. You're a constant in my life, man, and I appreciate you. And I don't want to get too emotional because you know what I'm saying. We're gonna have fun with this. You know what I mean. But at the end of the day, like I want to give you your flowers where you can smell them because I want to be the man I am. I want to be a man. Period. I was still a boy when I met you, and through your guidance, from finances to spirituality to getting my Gohanzen to being on parole and having to get permission slips assigned to drive down to Delaware. I mean, from it all, man, you've been through it with me and you never swayed away. You always there no matter what. So, I salute you and I appreciate you. And yeah, this episode is more to celebrate you and your legacy because I believe that you are one of if not the most incredible person I ever met, and I think you always push the level of success, the level of gratitude, your level of just doing new things. You ain't scared to do nothing new. You know what I mean? You try it all, and there's so many things and so many roles I do want to talk to you about today on our show. And again, man, just appreciate you being here, and let's just jump right in.
Yeah, let's
Um,
jump right in. This is one again. I've been watching from the peripheral for a long time and hearing the role and impact you've had on Kevin's life. And to say, I think excited is an understatement. We've been talking about this since we knew we were going to have you on. I'm like, this is going to be a conversation. I mean, from what 26 years in the military to entrepreneurship to motivational speaking. It's a pretty crazy journey, it sounds like, and I definitely want to know about it. And I'm open to starting wherever you guys want to start, but something I'm truly curious is how you started your career in the military and what kind of drove you to the line of service.
Wow, wow, wow. You know, first of all, I appreciate so much being here, and it's a honor to be on here because Kevin and I talked about the podcast a while ago, and I have a podcast called The Winning Edge: A Billionaire's Mindset, and I think we were talking about it around the same time frame. But I don't have 42 episodes under mine yet, and so it's really amazing that y'all have been able to do this. And this I'm not sure how long your podcast is typically, I know they're about 45 minutes to an hour, but with the introduction and the things that Kevin had brought up, we could be here for hours just really delving into that space of what he spoke about. I mean, because I think it's that space that really creates the intentionality of how we show up in life and what it is that we do in our lives and why we do it and why we do it unconditionally. I could so just spend time on Kevin and I and how that mentorship both ways comes into play. Watching him transform himself, and from where he had been to where he went to where he wanted to go to where he goes and where he is today, all of that is transformative. And it goes back to that question that you just asked me. How did my military start? And I think the best way for me to respond to that is to kind of take you on my little journey that got me to this spot. And Kevin talked about the Gohonzon. And I'm going to share a little about that because that has a significant impact on my intentionality in going into the military. So I was raised Catholic and I was born and raised in Philadelphia. My grandmother was a teacher in New York City and Harlem. We spent a lot of our lives in Harlem, and having a teacher as a parent, whether grandparent or parent, it was very challenging because she was very strict and very intentional about how we grew up and how we understood the importance of education. And so as life went on, I decided that I wanted to become a Catholic priest. And the reason that I wanted to become a Catholic priest was because being raised Catholic, I wanted to help people to become happy. My goal at the young age, I was in grade school, and I don't know how, I don't know where this desire came from, but I know it was a very pure desire that I wanted to help people to be happy. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that meant or anything else. And so as I told that and shared that with my parents, I went to, we found a school in Massachusetts. And so I went to this high school in Massachusetts, and it was a private seminary. And my junior year, my brother had called me up and he had told me about this practice of Buddhism. And I said, well, don't do anything until after I come home for summer break so that we can engage in learning more about what it is that you're doing. And so I came back and I got more information and got engaged in, and our grandbaby's in the background, if you can hear that. I mean, I have no idea why all of a sudden he decided that he wanted to be a part of this this podcast here. But he is really showing up. Hey, Ronnie, can you take him upstairs? And so he is like not happy, and he's been asleep all afternoon, so he's ready. But I learned about Buddhism, and I really found that the premise behind Buddhism was to help people to find happiness from within their own life, to help people to really create that happiness in themselves. And so this was kind of the answer to my prayer, because in life, when you put something out there, you're going to be searching, and things will come into your environment that you may not think was what you had called to come forth. But in reality, you have to travel that path and understand that we can't manage life through our heads. And so often we try to manage life through our heads instead of allowing life to happen to our lives. And so my desire to help people to become happy in my head at the time with the information I had was to drive them toward Jesus Christ. But the fact of the matter is when I found out about Buddhism, it was the fact that we have everything that we need. God has given it all to us already. It's inside of us. And so to be happy, you have to intentionally find that into yourself. And we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo for this. The whole premise behind the organization is to create world peace. And so I'm like absorbing this and saying, one at a time, if I can help people to be happy. And so then after graduating from high school, I went away to college. And while I was in college, they had this ROTC program. And I joined the ROTC program because I was a broke college student and they paid us $100 a month just to show up. You know, I'm in school and this was like, you're going to pay me to show up? And so they said, yeah, we're going to pay you this. And they call it a clothing allowance, but it was significant money at the time. And so I went in, but the fact is that it got inside of me. And so as I went through really discovering my interest in the military, I had to debate, why are you going in if you're propagating world peace? And the fact of the matter is, I realized that there's a lot of people in the military that have to also understand that they can create that protection and that happiness and that fortitude from within, and they don't have the information, and I can provide it. And so I decided that I would go into the military as a medical administrator so I can save lives versus taking lives. And my entire career was from a medical perspective. And I started out in the Army. I was managing hospitals and things of that nature, but I transferred to the Air Force. And in the Air Force, I got assigned to a air medical evacuation unit. And this air medical evacuation unit was one that flew all over the world. We fly down range and we bring back any injured man or woman. And we help them to understand, I help them to understand how they can still create happiness in their life. And so I was able to share my practice with people to inspire them to look deeper inside. And so our practice has always been about, we practice for ourselves and we practice for others, because in order for us to accomplish world peace and global happiness, I learned that it has to happen within one person first, me. And then once it happens within me, I was able to share it with someone. And now they take on that role and responsibility to help it happen to them. And so my military journey was absolutely incredible, because it took me around the world and took me meeting people. And during this whole process, I am learning so much about me. But I'll tell you, one of the first lessons that I learned when I first started practicing while I was still in high school was that I did not like nor love myself. Had no idea. And when I started chanting, I came to the realization that I didn't even know who I was. And that was with intention. And I didn't realize I was doing it intentionally. But if you ever saw me, I was around other people. I was making people laugh. I loved being around people. But when I was by myself, I would run back and be with other people, because I never wanted to spend time with me. And I didn't know why that was.
Did you recognize that in the moment?
I recognized that. As I recognized it once I started chanting these words. And then I took it to another level when I had to travel from the East Coast to San Antonio, Texas, by myself. Mind you, I never spent time like that by myself. And now here I am on a 2-day trip driving to Texas, and I had to get mano a mano with me. And I'm telling you, it is probably the most profound thing that I would suggest everyone take time to get into you. to learn who you are, to have positive, loving, progressive conversations with yourself. Because I found that I was being so harsh on me. I was being so negative about what I couldn't do or what I didn't do. I would see how other people like someone else, and I would assume that they like this person because of X, Y, and Z. And I would try to do and duplicate that other person just so that they would like me. I've learned in life that nothing at all has meaning except the meaning we give to it ourselves. And when we start to give meaning to things, now we're taking action on meanings that we've given to something that may not have anything at all to do with its initial premise or purpose. And this is an important lesson to understand, is because if you are the one that's giving something meaning, then you're also the one that can change that meaning around if it's not serving you well. And so as I started to do that, and as I started to learn that, I started to realize that I needed to be more loving to me. Words have power.
Yes.
The words that we use, even in conversations with ourselves, are driving us to take actions that are not always serving our desire to grow. And we don't realize that we're deflating our own premise of accomplishment, of growth, of momentum forward, because we're holding on to something that is way back here and keeping us away from doing the things that we want to do. So as we understand that words have power, then you have to understand to use your words very selectively and listen to those conversations you have, because the fact is, whether you say it out loud or you think it, the cells in our bodies do not understand whether you're joking or not.
Mm-hmm.
And they react and respond to those words. Oh, no, I didn't really mean that. Oh, they don't know.
That's right.
You know? And so one of the things that have impacted me in my life as of late, and so that's how I got into the military. So the military really came about as a part of my mission, crazy, to create world peace.
So you mentioned so many incredible pieces there, and I'm sorry for jumping in, but I have a few follow-up questions there. So a lot of what you talked about was this ability to be introspective, and you mentioned chanting as a means to accomplish that. Can you explain what chanting is, and then just also other tools that allowed you to go inwards? I know you talked about that trip from the East Coast to Texas as it's almost like this forced opportunity where, hey, I don't have a choice but to be alone. What was that experience like? Was there a level of having to learn acceptance that I am alone? Can you share some of those tips that you use or learned about being introspective?
Yeah, so again, when we start to dream, when we start to create, so often I hear people say, I have dreams, but I have to be realistic. And it hurts me to hear that, because what that means is I have these grandiose dreams that are way out here, but I'm going to go for the low shot. I'm going to take the easy path to what I think I can do. And so part of introspecting and taking that deep dive into yourself is it allows you space to realize that you are much more phenomenal than you ever anticipated or ever even imagined. There's much more about you than you even know yourself. And so when I started chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, if you've ever seen the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, with Tina Turner. The ironic thing is Tina Turner and I started practicing the same year in 1976. And she put this movie out to really be a catalyst to helping people to understand the intrinsic value of this practice and how it will empower you to understand you are more than what some people think you are. And if you've seen the movie, you've seen that she was in an abusive relationship and finally had enough fortitude to break away from the relationship. Now, she wasn't chanting to break away, but she finally got the guts up to break away. She went to her girlfriend's house, and this is how our lives manifest and move us in the direction of where we're supposed to go. And so often we tend not to listen to it and we start using our heads again. But she went over her girlfriend's house, and her girlfriend happened to have just been introduced to this practice of Buddhism and said, listen, I've been doing this. It's been amazing. Why don't you try it? Tina Turner tries it. She starts chanting. She starts really creating an internal power within herself, enough to have her go back to court and say, let Ike have everything. All I want is my name. Because she knew, and she found through this perspective and this empowerment that I can do whatever I dream of, whatever I want to accomplish. And so just give me my name. And I said, oh, you're crazy. No, I'm not going to give you that. And the judge said, are you crazy? She just asked her, are you sure you don't want any of the money they raised? No, and then she went out and became the top female vocalist. She took this poison in her life and used that as the fuel to create the life that she wanted. And so the fact of the matter is, Ike being in her life was necessary. When we have obstacles and challenges so often in our lives, when we look down on them, we think, oh, this is the worst thing that ever happened. But see, everyone has karma. We all have karma. We all have stuff in our lives that we have to get through. But in Buddhism, we look at it as turning poison into medicine and look at it from a perspective of growth and progress and development, personal development. So the word Nam, in Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, the word Nam is devotion to Myoho Renge Kyo. Myoho is mystic law. It's the thing that happens to us around us all the time. And like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? People can argue about things like that all day long, but the fact of the matter, no one really knows. In Buddhism, we expect and accept that in our life. This is a natural occurrence. Miracles do happen. We can create this stuff. And now if we embody it as part of our own energy, we can tap into it as we need to. And I have so many stories of how that has come to fruition in my life and so many other people's lives. Renge means lotus flower. A lotus flower is a very beautiful flower that's found in deep, muddy swamps. Now, here's the beautiful thing about everything that I just said about the challenges that we have in our life being abuse. Who's going to say that's a great thing? The deeper, the muddier the swamp, the more richer and beautiful this flower is. Mm-hmm. The swamp is very symbolic of our life condition. The day that Kevin went into jail, this was a negative. No one wants to go behind bars and be treated the way they do. But in that essence, he was able to find this practice, use this practice, and now come out. And now, through his life path, he is now helping others from a most positive influx of saying, I understand what you're going through, but I also understand what you can grow through. And this is how you do it. And now he's dedicating his life. He's turned poison into medicine to help other people. The beautiful thing about the lotus flower, not just the fact that the more muckier the stuff that you're going through in life is, the more richer you and beautiful you can expand. That in itself is incredible. But the lotus flower is one of the only flowers that when it blossoms, it seeds. And this blossoming and seeding represents the simultaneity of cause and effect. Mm-hmm. Understand, if something in your life affects you, you've made a cause for it. This is something that so many people have to understand: acceptance and taking responsibility and accountability for what role I played in this situation. Too often, we're so fast on pointing fingers at someone else. When you point a finger at someone else, three more fingers are pointing right back at you. And we tend to still focus on that one singular point. And so when we start to understand and accept the role of causality, my wife and I have been married for 37 years. And never have we blamed any situation that have gone on in our relationship on each other. People say, what is the thing that kept you all together? We never blamed each other. We took a responsibility and accountability of what role did I play to make this happen? How did I show up with this? And when we can take that introspective role of creating and changing and correcting ourselves, the environment will also correct itself. You know, and so often we're trying to fix the environment, but we have to understand that our environment is a reflection of who we are. We are magnets. The people that come into your life, that agitate your life, that piss you off, that you don't know where they came from, guess what? You attracted them to your life. But yet we're going to try to knock everything out and be this, that, and the other. And it's so easy to feel that we can shove everything else away. But the reality is it's all inside, and it's going to continue to repeat itself until we change this. We'll keep attracting those same things because that's the magnet that's doing it. That's the common denominator. Kyo is sounds, rhythms, and vibrations that surround us and everything in our universe. So it's that alignment and being in aligned with the energy that's flowing. And we are indeed a one with those alignments. And so when we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, we're saying I devote my mind and body to the mystical law of cause and effect through sounds, rhythms, vibrations, and the energy that surrounds us. And these words will penetrate the existences that we think are there, and it'll help align us with the existence of what it is that we want. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish in your life, you can accomplish. And I will tell you, that has brought me to being able to live a life here in Hawaii. It's not something that I need to brag about or anything because, frankly, it should have happened years ago. When we had our 10th wedding anniversary, it was a Hawaiian luau, and we were telling people we were moving to Hawaii. And then when we had our 25th wedding anniversary, it was another Hawaiian luau still on the East Coast, not in Hawaii, but we're still talking about it. Dreams without actions is nothing but a wish that blows away in the wind. We were out here on vacation once, and I went for a run. When I came back from the run, I opened the door and I didn't even finish the run. I was walking back to the room because it was like weight on my shoulders. I didn't know why. And I opened the door up to the room and it just came out of my mouth. I hadn't even thought it lodged in my head at all. The words just came out, ends don't meet. And my wife said, what are you talking about? I said, ends don't meet. We've been waiting for everything to get in a line. We're waiting for our ends to meet. We're waiting to get the ducks in a row. It doesn't happen. That's why they're called ends. They don't meet. Mm-hmm. And when I realized that as long as I continue to wait on something that will never happen, I will never accomplish the dream of moving to Hawaii. And I said that at that time, I said, before we leave this vacation, we have to have a plan. And we put a plan in place. And 9 months later, we moved to Hawaii.
Which I would like to say was a bittersweet moment for me. I will say that. Yeah, because I was at the I was at the house when you were packing up, and I was helping y'all move, and it was really cool to be a part of that, because I remember when you said we're doing it, And then to see it happen was like, wow, like he really is serious. And then to see it come to fruition, then to go out there and see y'all out there was amazing. When just staying on the topic of Hawaii, can you, because I think this is real important, because Hawaii, when people think of Hawaii, especially if they've never been there, they just think about this beautiful place. But Hawaii was more of a spiritual connection for you and Ma, in terms of the environment and the I forgot the word that they use out there. What's the word, Pops? The
Aloha.
The aloha. Can you speak about how your spirituality, how you look at things, how that goes simultaneous with the Hawaiian culture?
So again, our environment is a reflection of our own lives. I hear a lot of times people talk about, oh, well, when I retire, I'm going to move to so-and-so because I can afford that and my money can stretch higher and all that stuff. Hawaii is kind of expensive. However, how do we view expense? How do we view expense? I believe that being less stressed and being in a more communal, loving environment is more value to me than trying to figure out money issues, because we can make more money. And I don't think that our consciousness allows a lot of people to think about how does an environment penetrate your life. Hawaii is very, very different. It wasn't until we went island hopping that we truly understood that aloha meant something. Aloha is a way of connecting. Aloha is love. Aloha is family. Aloha is peace. Aloha is really engaging and engulfing in each other's lives. It's how we show up. You don't have people, cussing people out on the street out here and all of this other stuff. The kids are very respectful. They call you auntie, they call you uncle. And I remember a time we were with my mom, and by the way, both my mother and my wife's name is Veronica. So they're the two Veronica bookends, and it was always a hoot. Their both name is Veronica Rich. And so when we travel, they're like, what? And so the three of us were going to this beach. And we walked up to the beach, and there was a family over in a pavilion preparing a barbecue. And so we saw them. They do a lot of barbecues out here on the beach, so that's not an uncommon thing. They just very common. We sat up on the beach for a couple hours, and we're talking about what are we going to do for dinner. We said, well, let's pack up, and we'll figure it out as we go get heading home. Come down off the beach, this family comes running over to us and says, we would like you to have dinner with us. Well, I was still holding on to this East Coast mentality, and it was like, thank you so much, but no thanks. They insisted, and we insisted. We were perfectly fine. It wasn't just me. We were all in unison. No, thank you. We don't know these people. We did not know them whatsoever. But they insisted. And so I gave in and said, I'll have a burger out of respect. So I'm going over and I'm eating this burger that was absolutely incredible. And the husband is packing these to-go containers with steak, with potatoes, with everything they had. I said, dude, what are you doing? He said, we want you to take dinner home with you. And I'm like, this is insane. I mean, what? I don't understand, and I'm saying that to myself, but he's packing. He gave me 2 bags of food, 2 paper bags full of food that lasted us like 3 weeks. The wife comes over and she asks me, she says, do you know why we want you to have dinner with us? And I said, no, ma'am, I really don't. And she said, because you take care of mama. And that's very, she said, we watched how you took your mother up to the beach and spent time with her and the care that you took bringing her back down. And that's what aloha is about. That's what we are about. And it was that day that all of that I had carried as a protective mechanism was dropped. And ever since that day, we have been paying it forward. Every year, I post their picture on Facebook because I have not seen that family again since. I look for them, but they were in our lives at the perfect time and opportunity to create that space of what aloha in Hawaii really meant. And it's that energy, it's that spirit, it's that connectivity of people. And yes, the weather is absolutely amazing out here. It's absolutely beautiful. And the other piece of that is allowing yourself space and giving yourself enough credit to be able to understand that you can have what you want. And I didn't fully know this. We built our house in Delaware. It was a 5,000 square foot home. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Before we moved out here, my wife and I sat down and said, take a look, because we'll never have anything like this in Hawaii. It's just, that's not possible. We're telling ourselves this, but the actions and everything that we took were very different. We didn't know our own capability. We didn't know our own premise. We didn't know what we had already put into the universe. Now, mind you, 20 years prior, when my dad had passed away, we promised our mom we would take care of her. Anything mom wanted, we did. And we put our lives on hold to make sure we filled mom's bucket list. And mom wanted to move here to Hawaii with us. And she moved out here when she was 80 years old. She was out here parasailing. You understand? She said, I always wanted to go parasailing. 15 minutes later, we were on the boat going up in the air, she and I. But whatever she wanted to do, we've gone hot air balloon riding. We've been to Panama. We've gone through the canal. Everything mom wanted, we did. And so coming out here was one of those things where when mom passed away, but before she had passed away, I don't even know if it was before. We did so much stuff. The day she passed away, she and I had this spiritual communication and conversation. And it was mom saying, thank you so much for everything that y'all did for me. I loved everything. Y'all made sure that I lived my life. It wasn't like we just left her in the house, checked up on her or anything. You say let's, she say go. We traveled everywhere. But this day, she said, now it's my turn to do for y'all. And I didn't quite understand what that meant, but I knew that I wanted to get her ashes, because whenever she said, you ain't seen nothing yet, you're going to be traveling. And I'm like, what? And I'm saying this the same day she passed, you're going to be traveling and you're going to live a life. And all I want you to do is be great. Just be great. Those conversations that you have, those spiritual conversations are real. And it touched my life and my heart. And a few months later, in the middle of COVID, out here in Hawaii, when those interest rates were low, people were putting their houses on the market and they were getting 50 to 70 offers on a house. They were getting 100 to 200,000 over their asking price. There was a bidding war going on out here. And we found this house because we wanted a house where our family would not have to be able to say, I can't afford to come out or nowhere to stay. We tell them, you come, you got a place to stay. We found a 5-bedroom, 4-bath home, larger than the house we have in Delaware, backs up to a mountain, oversees the ocean. And we were able to purchase this home and it never hit the market. It never hit the market. You see, Myoho is real. Myoho is real. We got to negotiate the price of this house. When others were paying 100 to 200 over asking, we were able to negotiate the price of the house. We didn't get the house for, well, they didn't accept the price we wanted, They did come down a little. We met halfway. Then later in the transactional process, the appraised value of the house wasn't as high as they thought it was. So they took some more off. Our realtors both ate $10,000 a piece, the buyer and seller, and we got this house for the exact same price that we originally offered them in the first place. That is what Myoho is all about. That is what manifesting things is about. And so as we continue to transpire in our lives and everything, I continue, as Kevin said, I'm not just settling down. I am continually moving into my light. And through the years, I have found that I can shine my light more brighter than I ever thought I could. And so in December of 2022, I got involved in an organization that's out here called PSI, Personal Success Institute. PSI helped me to understand I was the one that was blocking any successes and any dreams and things that I wanted to do, and helped me to move forward. After joining PSI, I realized that I was afraid to fly. Now, I've flown all over the world, mind you, but after I took PSI, I realized I was afraid to fly. And people say, what are you talking about, afraid to fly? I've been holding on to a job that was comfortable, that was really fun, great job. I loved my job, but I was holding on to it despite the fact that I knew this job would never create the lifestyle that I really wanted to have. And I realized that I needed to soar, and I was afraid to let go. I was afraid to soar. This organization helped to get me in the mind frame that I had to let go in order to soar. And so in April, I left my job because I knew I can be a motivational speaker. I have wanted to be an internationally proclaimed motivational speaker for years. I said, that's what I want. That's my passion. And so I let go of the job. And then a short time later, I got a phone call from a guy that said, listen, I can help you write your book. I don't even know how he knew I wanted to write a book. He said, I can help you to write a book. And I said, okay, let's do it. He sat me down, got me to where I could just be still. And within 30 days, my book was finished. It's called Manifesting Your DPS. Your DPS is your dream positioning system. It's just like a GPS that can navigate you from one geographic location to another. Your DPS will navigate you toward your goals, dreams, and desires in life. And it's all about manifesting, and stop using this. Creating a mindset of success means allow the universe to also come into play in your life. And so within a short period of time, there's a couple things that I learned. One is you never have to worry about how. Too many times we are stagnating ourselves and procrastinating because we don't know how to do something that we want to do. That's the universe's job to figure that out. And the universe will push you into the directions that you need to know to help you along the way. Everything that I've done in my life, everything that I've done in my career, from saying I wanted to help people to become happy, going to the seminary, learning to practice Buddhism, learning to help people to become happy within their own self, going into the military, helping people, flying around the world, coming out of the military after my whole career in the military was bringing injured men and women home in a different condition, and we sent them out. And I always wondered, was this country ready to take care of them? After I left the military, I got a job with the federal government directly related with the United States Department of Labor, to where now I'm responsible for serving those service members again. My life has been full of service. How can I serve others? And my job was to make sure that they got the jobs that they needed when they came out the military. And then when I was able to leave that, now I can use my voice to help people to manifest the things that they want in their life, manifest the success by letting go of thinking you have to manage it through your head.
So with that said, with the DPS, like, what advice would you give someone that struggles? I mean, there was a time that I struggled with this, and I still struggle with this at times. Um, the blockage or the self-doubt of manifesting, or creating my own reality, or having the confidence to do so. Like, what advice would you give someone that hasn't opened up your book yet, but is in that place where they're stuck and they don't have the belief in themselves to create that reality that you're speaking of?
Yeah, and so one, if you had to go from the East Coast to the West Coast and you didn't have a roadmap or you didn't have a GPS, it would be very, very challenging and difficult to do. You can just start in West, and you'll probably get to the West Coast, but not to a specific location. You need something to direct you. And so our dreams are very much the same way. You need something to direct you. And that's why I created the personal dream blueprint, to help to be a roadmap to help people to get there. Too often we think we can do it by ourselves, and then we sit back and we don't do anything because we're too busy trying to figure out how to get there, how to do it. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when you put it out there to the universe that this is what you want, you have to allow the universe to present these opportunities to you. So often when things come about, people see it, don't realize it's related to what you asked for, and they don't take advantage of it. There's a story about this guy that was going in for a job interview, and he was running late for the interview, and he knew it was hard to find parking around the building he went to. So he started praying to God, help me to find out, this job is so important to me. I need this job. I need this job. I need this job. And so really, please help me. And then as he's approaching the building that the interview is at, a parked car pulls out. And the guy says, "Oh, never mind. I found the spot." He doesn't realize that he prayed for that spot to happen. He just thinks, "Oh, I did this myself." No, we have to understand, when we put it out there, if you're going to pray, don't worry. If you're going to worry, why are you praying? Understand that we're connected, all of this together. And so once I wrote my book, I had a company called me up and said, "Listen, would you be interested in doing an international book signing conference?" And they said, "You'd have to pay your way to get there. It's expensive." But this is what I had already proclaimed. I want to be an international renowned speaker. So I could have easily said, "No, man, no, this ain't the right time. I just left my job. I gotta." No. Tuesday, I'm leaving to go to Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea for an international book signing convention and speaking engagements in those places, because I'm moving into what it is that I have created in my space. The universe is sending messages, they're sending opportunities. Take advantage of those opportunities. Stop thinking them out, saying, "Oh, is this?" No, it's direct alignment with what it is that you want to happen. Absolutely.
All right, let's. I want to take a step back, and speak on, not when you spoke about our relationship with mentor and mentee and how it goes back and forth. Can you, because that's a huge staple in the Nichiren Buddhism that we both practice, mentor and mentee relationship. Can you speak on what that is, what that means, and how important it's been in your life?
Yeah, so having a mentor in the various genres of life are very, very important. If it's a business mentor, if it's a marriage mentor, or someone that you can look up to and everything. But the most profound mentor for me, because this is the core of my life, is my spiritual mentor. And my spiritual mentor was a man that his name is Daisaku Ikeda. He is the third president of the Buddhist organization that we're a part of. And He had never graduated college or anything. He had two brothers that had died during the bombing in Japan, and he was looking at the age of 19. He went to a meeting, a Buddhist meeting, and he was asking the leader there what was the meaning of life. Because now, at a 19-year-old child, you're looking at the fact that war has just ruined your entire family, changed your entire dynamics of your country, and people are trying to figure it out. Here in the United States, because until 9/11, we didn't know anything about something being bombed or how it affects our country or anything like that. And out there, here's a 19-year-old child trying to figure this stuff out. And he met a man that gave him the purpose of life, and that was to become indestructibly happy and create value and fortune in your life and the life of others. And so Daisaku Ikeda took this man, Jose Toda, on as his spiritual mentor. And not only that, Jose Toda also was a business owner and he was an educator. And so during that time frame, Daisaku Ikeda was supposed to be going to college, but he didn't because he was staying with his mentor to help him with his business and everything. He says, you help me with what we're doing here, I will educate you. And so Daisaku Ikeda would say he had graduated from Toda University. Here's a young man. He became the third president of this organization, the Soka Gaikai, which means value creation. And he has over 389 honorary doctorate degrees around the world. He never graduated college, and today he has over 389 honorary doctorate degrees from universities and educational institutions from around the world because of his desire to create peace and happiness and his propagation of that throughout the world, and how he has connected people and connected countries and connected just having dialogue with other people. And so when you have someone in that spectrum, he left Japan because this Buddhism that we're practicing was originally right there in Japan. In 1960, he flew, first stop was Hawaii, because he was going out to create global peace and happiness. And Jose Toda told him, we can't keep this in Japan. You have to take it throughout the world. And now we're in 190 countries from around the world where people are chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo and creating indestructible happiness and still sharing it. And so this shows you that one person can make a significant difference in the whole complexion of the world. One person can make that difference. And because of Daisaku Ikeda, he has been my spiritual mentor. He has helped me to understand how to create from within. He has helped me to get the blockages out and know that anything that I want to accomplish in life, I can. And he created the space for me to continue to do that. He recently passed away, and his legacy and the things that he has done will definitely live on forever and will always live on forever in my life. And I think it's important for people to understand we can't do things alone. We can't succeed working in a silo. Having a mentor, having a coach, having someone to help direct you, having someone to help to steer you to your accomplishing the things you want will only create space for you to do the same. There's an African proverb that says, the hands that oil the feet are in turn oiled by the feet. And so the service that we do and we bring to other people is going to be that same gift that comes back to us, and so we have to learn to live in a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. When we stay in a mindset of scarcity, then we continue to hold back who we really are and what we really are. I know people that want to hold on and squeeze the penny till it dries. You got to let it go. It's called currency. The current of this ocean has never stopped since I've been here. It just constantly flows. And if we can live our life in the mindset of abundance, not scarcity, and of giving, of giving, you will receive everything that you want, and you don't have to try to force mind. The universe will continue to send that to you. That's the message that people have to have. Stop trying to control it all ourselves. Let the universe do its job.
I think a big part of this whole conversation is this concept kind of letting go and doing the next right thing and allowing things to come back in return. You talk a lot about connection. It follows. I spent a lot of my younger years in like self-help programs, and there's the idea that you have to give it away to receive it. This message of, and something I found true in my life, right, is when I'm actually connecting with others and being of service, a magical thing happens for me, and that's that I stop thinking about myself. And I stop thinking about my problems, and I'm able to be present and there for others. And it's just the way that you have articulated your thoughts this evening and been able to share these stories that you've experienced and the profound impact it's had on your life is truly incredible. You also talked a lot about manifesting and all the incredible things that you've been able to manifest. I'm curious, what's the next thing you have your vision on? I know outside of going to Japan and this incredible trip that you have in terms of speaking, but what's next on the pipeline that's going to continue to push and allow you to expand and grow as a human?
You know, one of the big reasons that I've moved here to Hawaii is because I know that it's not the reason I moved here to Hawaii. One of the premises that I wanted to create, of the value that I want to create here, is that I realize a lot of the young people here leave Hawaii to live somewhere else because they can't afford to live here. My dream, my prayer, my desire is to create space to have them stay here, have them realize that they can do exactly what it is that they want to do right here. They don't have to give away their home. They don't have to leave it to go in somewhere else. They call Vegas the ninth island because there's a lot of Hawaiians that have moved to Vegas and everything. And the thing is that there's opportunities and things here. The hospitality industry doesn't pay enough for people to live here. And that's the largest platform of income for a lot of people. But if you start to help people to realize that they can create and they can do, they can remain right here. And so that's one of the passions that I have, is to really help to create that space for others to be able to really create the income opportunities, the fiscal opportunities, the passion, and live their mission right here in Hawaii, and take that around the globe. Because I think there's a lot of people right now, especially our young people, they're lost in a lot of different facets of just their surroundings. You know, just going to school. I mean, kids are afraid to go because of killing and shooting and stuff like that. How do we help them to keep their minds open to the opportunities that are available to them? How do we create that space for them? And it's something that they have to constantly keep hearing and hearing and hearing again. And so through that, and going around and really sharing my book with other people is something that I'm looking to expand into. And I'm a member of a number of nonprofit organizations. I plan to open up a nonprofit here. I'm a dive instructor, and so I want to help people with PTSD, particularly military members, to find 20 minutes of serenity in the ocean, where I can teach them to scuba dive and they can just find peace. Because so often they don't find that peace because their head is out there, and in the ocean it's just quiet.
It's incredible. I love the genuineness and the sincere desire to be of service. That's been a common theme tonight. You know what tonight kind of felt like? It's interesting because so many of the conversations, and there was many times tonight where I'm like, I'm so curious, I want to dive in. And I was like, you know what? This reminds me, I think it was back in like 2006, something like that, the night that Kobe put up 81 points. It's just like, nope, give him the ball, stay back, let him talk.
Yeah.
You're not adding any value to this conversation right now. Let him cook. So I think it was it was in like 2006, something like that.
Yeah.
That's what tonight
Yeah.
felt like for
Yeah.
me, was just being able to really try to sit back and hear of the ways and the principles in which you lived your life that have afforded you a level of peace and serenity that is notable, right? Like just seeing the way even that you sit and the way you talk and the way you hold yourself, it's this very kind of confident and serene, like ability, and it's inspiring to me. So I'm super grateful that I got to sit and hear some of the gems. And as you said in the top, we could talk literally for hours and hear the story. But man,
Yeah, we definitely need a part two, because I got so many other questions. Um, uh, I also agree with Ben. Yeah, I mean, when somebody got the ball, they dropping buckets. Just let them shoot. Let them shoot. Yeah, just play D. But Ben, I think, at least for me, at least, I think, or I hope at least, the way I carry myself, my ideologies, my principles, the way I move on a day to day, a lot of that could be seen just having a conversation with my pops. You know what I'm saying? A lot of who I am, man, like I said at the beginning, is a direct reflection of our relationship, and my gratitude for pops is never ending. Um, I definitely well, I'm gonna dedicate this episode to Grammy. I'm gonna make sure we put that in the beginning. This episode is definitely for her, because Grammy is Grammy. She has such an impact on me, um, and my mom. My mom for sure. My mom loved Grammy. You know what I'm saying? So shine in peace, Grammy. And yeah, then we're gonna definitely dedicate this episode to her and to her legacy. And before we let you go, I do have this. I do have one last question for you. When it comes to your legacy, how would you want people to remember you by or as?
That's a good question, because I'm still creating that. I'm still building that. But most importantly, pops. You know, we have 3 biological children, and we have another 27 that call us mom and dad. And that's not by accident. It's not something that we planned on happening, but it's something that we have lived into. And I think it's a dedication and an appreciation and a love for how we show up in life and what it is that we do. I remember hearing parents tell their kids, when we moved to Delaware, was kind of one of the places where people have kind of settled down. They had these nice big 5,000 square foot homes or bigger and everything. And it was like, okay, I created a life for you to go and do your thing. You got the space to do. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. I think it's amazing that families can move from, tragic and trauma and move into a space where their kids can now expand. But for me, it was one of the things that I told my kids that I want to create the environment for you, but I don't want to stop creating. I want to continue to lead and keep me moving. And if you pass me by, then you've kicked butt. It's not because I stopped. It's because you've kicked butt, and I want you to pass me by, but it's not because I've stopped. And it was funny because I was running out on the beach the other day, and I was with my nephew and another friend, and they were in front of me. They're younger and faster, but I was still out there. But I would see their footprints in the sand, and the ocean water would come up and wash. And by the time I got to where they were, their footprints were gone. And our lives are similar to that. Dreams without goals and action dissipate in the sand. It dissipates in our lives. We have to take action and be intentional about how we want to show up in life. And I think that my legacy is that I never submitted to comfort.
Mm.
I want to be uncomfortable. I want to continue to expand where I am. You know, jumped out of an airplane last week, 14,000 feet. And it was absolutely invigorating. And I took my book with me. Oh, you got to see it on Facebook. It's amazing, you know, but
I didn't see it.
14,000 feet, jumped out of a plane and just was sucking that up. And you know, I turned 65 in May. I work out every day. I take care of myself because my email address is my name, 2079. 2079 is when I'll turn 120 years old. And I'm speaking it into existence. I believe that my legacy will be one of constantly looking forward and not living my life in the rearview mirror.
So for the next, what would that math add up to? 55 years?
Yep.
55 years.
The next 55 years, where can people find you? Where can people get your book? Where can people just be able to get, I know you do, it sounds like coaching as well in relation to the book. How can people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the book is on Amazon, but if you go to my website, it's called, my name is David B. Rich, and my business is called Be Rich International. And so if you go to BeRichIntl.com, you'll find my website. That's Be Rich, RichIntl.com. You'll find my website. My contact information is there. I am going to be hosting a 8-week workshop. I'm going to be on the 13th of March. I'm going to have a free seminar just on talking about how to manifest and how to obtain, how to create your personal dream blueprint, because everyone's blueprint is different. I am going to help coach people and mentor people into that space of accomplishment and obtaining the things and goals and dreams that they want in their lives. And so that's going to be on the 13th, and I'll provide that web information probably within the next couple of days. We'll have that because we'll have it when we get down in Taipei. And then if you want to reach me by phone, my direct line is 302-420-9248. Leave a message because they'll normally go to the voicemail if the number's not in my phone, but I will absolutely call folks back and talk story, and love to hear from your audience of what they got and gained from this, and hope that the words that I shared, the experiences that I've had, have intrigued them enough to be inspired to go after the things that you want in your life. You know, there's a dedication in the book. There's a dedication in here, and it's to my mom. And every time I read this, it brings me to tears because it's so real. You know, that's mom living her life, man, doing the things, but the dedication in itself, I would hope would inspire young folks that have their parents still, to just reach out and hug them. Just hug them, you know, because we're here because of how they showed up in life. Regardless of what you may think that relationship is, some people have some difficult, challenging relationships, but always remember that you're the one that chose your parents. It's your karma, not theirs. They've got their own. And the other part of that is that if there's still a breath in you and you still have an opportunity to turn that whole thing around. And if they've already passed, you have the obligation to connect spiritually with them. There's never a disconnect of that line. My mother and my dad, we speak every day. People say, you know, do you miss your mom? And I said, I miss her not being here, but the fact is that she has never left me. She has yet to leave. And that we should always hold on to with the people that we love in our lives, because it will empower you to be great.
That's a profound perspective. And there was many of those this evening. Well, at least it looks like it's quite not the evening where you are. It's pretty dark.
Yeah,
Pretty
right?
dark and cold. The exact opposite of what you got going on outside that window right there. But anyways, it truly was a pleasure to be able to sit down with you and have a conversation and really be able to hear how you live your life. And it is powerful, and I know I'm going to reflect on a lot of the things you talked about, and there's a lot that I'm going to start putting into my day-to-day routine, intentionally building into my day-to-day routine, as you've mentioned multiple times. Yeah, it was a powerful conversation. So thank you. Kev, thank you as always for the introduction and being part of this. And then thank you everyone for tuning in.
The Falling Up Podcast. Chill.
All right. I'm going to end the recording. I don't know if it will kick us out of the stream or not. But I think we'll maybe, all right, we can just keep it going for a minute.
Yeah, we can edit that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was just, and I know like the fraction of what we got tonight, and it's so powerful. How your perspectives came to be is like, it's a remarkable journey. So one question I do have that I wanted to ask in real time, but I didn't want to slow you down. When you were raised Christian and then made that transition to Buddhism, was there a resistance to that, or a part, like, what was that internal dialogue like?
That's probably one of the most profound points in my transition. It was I was very open. I was very open. The priests at the seminary wanted us to explore our lives. They wanted us to be sure of what we were doing. However, when I learned about it, and the summer I went home and I learned about this practice, and I knew I was coming back to school, I sat down with some of the members and I said, you do realize I'm going back to the seminary. I am graduating from my seminary. And they said, yeah, did anyone tell you to do anything different? I said, no, but I go to church every day. I'm in church every day. They said, did anyone tell you to do anything different? I said, no one's saying. They said, all we want you to do is apply this to your daily life. Keep doing what you're doing. And then they encouraged me to make a list of 10 things. They said, make a list of 10 things that you want to see accomplished, because if you don't have a list, then you won't know whether it's working or not. So make a list of things you want. And I said, that's cool. And they said this. And this was the thing that took me to thought. They said, and if you don't get them, then don't do it. And I was looking at them like, why would you say that to me if I didn't get the? And they saw that I was a little confused with that. And then they said the words that I had never considered in my Christianic practice. They said, why would you do something that's not working? And I said, I've been doing that my entire life up to this point, I mean, wow. So I said, that's pretty profound. If it doesn't work, then don't do it. Y'all have that kind of confidence about this working? They said, absolutely. And so I made the list. The first thing I had on the list was, this is my junior year. A C in that school would have been an A in any other school that I had gone to. And I had never made honors in this school. And that was bothering me. And so I wrote, I wanted to make honors, because I've been studying hard, working hard, never made honors. The very next semester, I not only made honors, I made high honors. Blew my mind. Didn't know how that happened. I didn't change my study habits or anything. I mean, it's just all I did was apply this practice. And I started chanting, and I made high honors. Amazing. So I had all these other things on the list, but the very last thing I had on the list was I didn't want to just receive a diploma when I graduated school because my parents spent a lot of money, time, energy for me to go to this private school. I wanted to get some recognition that would indicate to them my appreciation for what they did. But I wasn't going to graduate summa cum laude or nothing like that. So I had no idea what that might be. But during the last 2 years of my school there, I was involved in doing art stuff that I didn't even know I had an artistic bone in my body. I couldn't draw a person, but I was doing abstracts. I made a mask of myself. I was doing ceramics. I was doing some really, really neat creative stuff and everything. And so at graduation, they gave out the diplomas, and then they start giving out these special awards. And they said, and for outstanding artistic talent, David Rich. And when I walked up, they put this medal around my neck. And my dad jumped up and started saying, "That's my boy. That's my boy." He was so proud. He was so proud. And it was that moment. It was that moment that I said, I will never stop this practice. Everything on that list came true. And so there was never any kind of resistance from my folks. There was never any internal resistance, except I just wanted to see, I tried to, if it works or not. There was no resistance at the school. My classmates, I'm still classmates with, they say, "You still practicing that book?" Absolutely, you know. And when we go back to school, we go to church like we always did, you know. But and because of that experience, it provides me a level of authority and communication and acceptance to open up a conversation with people of other religions, because I've experienced those. I've been a part of that. And I can have that dialogue. I don't have to be afraid of speaking about religion or anything like that.
Yeah, no, thank you for, that was just kind of sitting with me, that whole conversation. I was just curious of what that process was like. Nice.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna cut that clip. That was a good.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I didn't end the recording, because that's like a perfect for the conversation. It really is. All right, I gotta wrap up because I gotta get home and cook dinner. But thank you guys so much for
taking tomorrow, man.
I know, right?
All right, man.
Yeah, it was truly a pleasure meeting you. Hopefully we'll do it again sometime. Maybe even in the real world would be even cooler.
Absolutely. He's been telling me when I come down. Huh. What you say in August? All right. That's it. That's when it'll be. In August?
Yeah, we don't got the date yet, but like middle August in Connecticut.
In Connecticut, Houston.
Connecticut. Everybody's over here, so you know.
Okay.
For both our families, so.
And it's really hot and sticky in Houston in August.
I mean, I don't mind. I'd rather be there, but whatever. That's another topic.
That's perfect. David's moving into mom's house for a while too. He's going to, while he tries to sell his house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah, it's right there.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But all right, fellas.
All right, you guys.
All right.
Take care.
Later.
See you later.
Bye.